Welcome into Cowboys OT from the Star in Frisco. The NFL regular season has come to an end, and so has possibly the worst performance the Cowboys have had all season long. 26-6 the final score as the Washington Commanders take down the Cowboys in the regular season finale. Dallas is now slotted in as the number 5 seed in the NFC playoffs. They will face Tampa Bay and Tom Brady in the wild card round next weekend. But let's hear from Mike McCarthy and his thoughts out at FedEx Field following the 20-point loss to NFC East foe Washington.
Mike, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. How would you characterize your team's performance today?
Not very good at all. Yeah, I mean, we played poorly. I just think, once again, first thing that comes to mind is when you're walking off the field, you think through the preparation and then all the things that didn't go right, and we played some combination of guys, and I thought they did a nice job on defense. We wanted to get through, personnel groups. That's something we've been challenged with as far as injuries. Offensive line, we didn't, offensive run block, and we didn't get it going in the run game, and and didn't have much going in the passing game.
Dak's had some bad plays, usually in the course of good games. When he's 14 for 37, what do you say about that?
Well, I just think, just like there's a lot more going on around. This is not about one guy. I mean, you can't look at our offensive performance and blame it on one guy. So there's plenty to go around.
You wanted to get the 13th win. You wanted to compete.
Yeah.
For these titles, you want to get momentum going to the playoffs. How disappointing to have a performance like this going to the playoffs?
I think that's a bit dramatic. I think the fact is we played poorly tonight, and that starts with me, and I'll take responsibility for that. But we've played 17 games. I think our productivity over the course of 17 games is good or better than anybody's in the league. So if but yeah, you want to be playing your best ball in January. Absolutely, I totally agree with that. We're all disappointed in our performance tonight. Even if we would have come out on the other side of it, we have to reboot and go. I mean, we knew that coming out of here. We know we're playing Tampa, and hopefully by the time we land, we'll know when the game is. But yeah, we're not gonna. I'm not a burn the tape guy, so we're not flushing this away and not being accountable for it. So let's just make that real clear. But we'll watch it on the plane, we'll watch it on the bus ride, and we'll make sure it'll be cleaned up because, the thing about it, let's be honest, we don't know if we're in a 6-day week, a 7-day week, or an 8-day week. So we got to be ready to go when we touch down.
What gives you confidence you can reboot?
Well, you got to reboot anyway. It's playoff time. There's no more guaranteed games. You're guaranteed one game, and you got to do whatever you need to do in playoff football to win, and that's be our approach. And I have great confidence in this team. I have great confidence in the locker room. I think we got exceptional leadership. I think our young guys, have contributed early in the year and have grown up. And at the end of the day, we're gonna have a tough time picking 48 guys, and that's a great spot to be in. But we need to practice better than we did last week. All those things. So this is ebb and flow of seasons are a part of being successful. I mean, this has been a consistent team throughout. I mean, our record speaks for that. Our productivity numbers speak to that. But at the end of the day, it's about one game. It's about beating Tampa. That's all we'll be thinking about when those wheels touch down.
Mike Cotter for ESPN, 10 3-and-outs for this offense to be that way. How
it's terrible, guys. I don't know how to keep saying it. Very disappointing, poor. You guys have got big vocabularies. Go for it. I mean, it was not a very good. Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed, but I give credit to Washington. They were definitely, they played free of mind and played with great energy. And let's be honest, we gave the ball to them twice to start the game, and we never really got going. I thought our defense played really tough, through 3 quarters, and but hell, we left them out there all day. I mean, it's we definitely didn't do our part offensively.
I know you said it.
Obviously, some frustration there from Mike McCarthy following the 26-6 loss to Washington. I feel like there's a lot of frustration around this Cowboys team today. Nobody anticipated this one going the way that it did as we welcome back in Barry Church and Isaiah Stanback. But where do you start, though? Is it start at the top? He said it himself. The preparation, the week ahead, it did not go right. Where do you start? Is it start with the head coach?
Always. And I respect him for speaking up and taking that ownership. because so many coaches would not do that. A lot of coaches would kind of point the finger and say, hey, offense has to do better. We have to. He said it starts with me, it starts with our preparation as coaches, and we have to have a better week of practice. He didn't allow anybody to be singled out, and I think that's where it has to start. I think everybody has to look at themselves in the mirror. That's why there's film study. We do extensive film study. That's the reason why we're good as analysts, because we go back and we watch film and we're able to talk about the things that we see. They're going to do the same exact thing. They're going to do a deep dive. On the plane tonight, they will be watching this film over and over and over again. By the time they land, they will get some grades back. These guys will have grades in their hands as of how they perform tonight, and the coaches will be meeting on the plane as well as to what they can be doing collectively to ensure that they have the best week of preparation going into play Tampa.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it starts and stops with the head coach, and he's taking full responsibility of it. And he's done a great job pretty much all season long, taking responsibility for the mishappenings of his team. And he's right also when he says all the blame can't go on one guy. You know, this is not all Dak Prescott's fault or the offense or the defense. Everybody had a share in this loss, and everybody had a share in the wins when they were able to do that as well. But overall, like McCarthy said, they're going to have a great week of practice out there, better than they had last week in preparation, because we all understand in the playoffs, everything's heightened up just a little bit more. The speed of the game, the physicality of the game, your decisions that you make out there have bigger outcomes as well. So they got to get on track with that offensively and defensively, and make sure they take care of the football. I mean, that's been the Achilles heel for this offense pretty much the second half of this year, is turning the football over. When you get into the playoffs, you're not going to last very long because other teams are going to be able to take advantage of your turnovers.
With as much credit as Mike McCarthy and this coaching staff deserve for getting them to this point, 12-win seasons in back-to-back years, we've heard the stat throughout the week for the first time since 1994 and 1995. At times, there are losses like this. You go back and you look at this game, you look at the Jacksonville game, Green Bay game, where you had big-time leads. This one, you felt like at some point it would click, but this was a team on paper you were far better against. Yeah. Does he deserve more of the credit in losses like this than he does to get them at least back to this point?
No, I don't think he deserves, more of the credit for the loss. I think this team overall came out flat, and that does start at the top with the head coach, and he, took full responsibility of that. And that's just something that they're going to have to overcome, because like we've seen early on in this year, it seems like this Cowboys team, when they have something to play for, they're going against a top talent or one of the top teams out there, they play up to their talent level. But then when they're going against the Houstons of the world, or even this Washington Commanders team where there's not a lot to play for besides getting momentum going into the playoffs, they play down to their opponent. So there's something that they're going to have to get, and I believe that's a mindset that you have to have going into each and every game, that no matter who you go against, you're the better team, you're the more talented team, you're going to come out on top. That's just a simple mindset that this team has to adopt, because right now, playing down to your opponent's level, it's just not going to work.
I think this team and this organization is still trying to figure out their identity. I don't think they've completely put their finger on that yet. I think when you look through the NFL and you think about some of these head coaches, you think about Detroit. When you play Detroit, you think about Dan Campbell. Like, what you're going to get out of Detroit. They might not be the greatest team in the world, but they're going to be resilient. They're going to come out fight. They're going to hit you in the mouth. Or, think about the Mike Tomlins of the world. You know what you're going to get out of them, right? They're going to fight dog. It's going to be a dog fight the whole time. You don't know what you're going to get with the Dallas Cowboys. And for that, I do say that Coach McCarthy and the rest of his staff have to find a way to make sure that they instill a culture collectively. I think Dan Quinn has a culture for his defense, but collectively as an entire organization, as team, I don't think that the Dallas Cowboys have figured that out yet.
Cowboys Nation has not seen back-to-back losses since the middle of last year, so hopefully they got it all out of the way now. That's kind of hard to talk about at the moment with as poor of a performance as it was for the Cowboys. When we come back, though, let's dive in on Dak Prescott. What happened to Dak? We'll hear from QB1 after this break. More Cowboys OT returning in a moment. Dak Prescott completes the worst percentage of his passes in a single game throughout his career as the Cowboys fall to the Washington Commanders, 26-6 the final score from FedEx Field. Let's go back out to Landover, Maryland, and hear from Dak himself.
How do you separate that from knowing you have to forget about it quickly and get ready for camp?
Yeah, we've got the right guys in this locker room that understand, that are mature men, that understand that nobody played their best ball, simple as that. And so, but to be accountable, starting with myself, be accountable for what you put out there, what you did, and then from that, understanding that's not who we are, and then moving on and knowing what we've got ahead of us, and it's one play at a time, the intensity, the focus, all that, one play at a time, one game at a time.
How do you explain that performance, especially your performance? You've had 2 picks, but you've had a lot of high completion, but 14 to 37, what it was. How do you explain it?
It's hard to. I mean, I said crappy. Yeah, I mean, 14 completions, I mean, yeah, not good enough, period.
Dallas Wings, could you feel that when you're out there, like just everything is completely out of sorts?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're just trying to get something going, and just wasn't able to, honestly. And I mean, some of the times, yeah, I probably should have just went underneath on some of the throws, and wanting to make a play, wanting to get the energy going, wanting to get us going. Took some shots, and those shots weren't there. And once again, we're back behind the chains, and we never put ourselves in third downs that were manageable, and that's what we've done this year.
Were you aware of the Eagles score during the game that they got?
Not at all. Not at all. Zero awareness of what was going on over there. I mean, as I told you before, we had to handle business for that to even be a possibility. So, no, just couldn't get off on the right foot.
Dak, Todd Archer with ESPN. Is it easy to look at a 17-game season and say 12-5, or does this one linger for a little longer?
No, this one won't linger. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to go back and look at our body of work and what we've done, especially when this isn't anywhere in those past 16 games. So when you have a performance like this, whatever it was, whatever the reason may be, we've got to, as I said, individually look at it, take accountability, learn from it, and then understand that, hey, with that playing touchdown, we're on to Tampa. And we know who they are, played them twice in these last 2 years, and it's going to be a good one.
What gives you confidence that you can turn the page? I know you say 16, 17 games, but the team haven't had success in the playoffs. You haven't had success against Tampa. What gives you confidence that you can burn this and it's going to be a different team next week? As I said, the men in the room. And sure, I mean, you look at the first game of this season, wasn't good at all. I didn't play to my performance, obviously, and that was just getting going, trying to find our identity. We lost that game, but you go back a year ago when we played those guys. We've had, just because we didn't win that game, we had some success and familiar now after 2 years of playing them. So that obviously gives you confidence, but more importantly, as I said, the men in the locker room, understanding the resilience that they've shown all year long, that we've shown, just being able to respond. And for myself, that's all I know. That's all I know. Been having to get back up my whole life.
Michael Galpin, Dallas Morning News. In the 4 games now without Terrence Steele, the run game has not met your guys' standard. Past 2 games especially. So what collectively needs to happen here in a week's time to get that part of this offense on track?
Yeah, I mean, everybody, I would think those guys would tell you first they got to be accountable for what they're doing, their communication, and just trying to be more physical, I guess. Obviously, we're not going to get Terrence back in this time, so we've got to make sure that we lock in and do our best with what we've got, and we've got some great players. I mean, you've got a Tyron Smith over there on the right side, and another Hall of Famer over there on the left, if that's what it is. And so no doubt in my mind that that's not going to get corrected.
Dak Prescott said it himself, 14 completions isn't going to get the job done, especially when you throw it 37 times and you have a pick 6 in there as well. He has not been playing well as of late as we welcome you back to Cowboys OT. But, Nate, it's not even just the compounding fact that he hasn't been playing well and then he has a game like this. It's the fact that you're doing it going into the playoffs where you're supposed to be peaking. Instead, you feel like you're in a rut.
Yeah, we've been beating this, Kyle. We've been beating this up for 4 or 5 weeks now. It's December football. It's January football. Let's hit a stride. But we haven't hit that stride. It's been turnovers. It's been bad play. It's been up and down play depending on who you play. if you're going to mature as a team, you have to understand that this is a one-and-done situation. And if you realize that, you tell everybody at the home front, everybody at the house, everybody that wants to come in, this is first. This is foremost, because if we go one and done, you'll get me the whole offseason. But if we go further, we can all rejoice in this. And this is what they're not understanding. I've been there a couple of times. And to have that pressure put on you and that expectation is large, but it comes with preparation and success. And if you can do that, if you can get the preparation down and start working in the right way and looking at things for what it really is, you'll be okay.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Nate, but I just don't know where they need to start. I really don't. Like, I would say the run game. I assume that you need to get the run game going, but then we have to go to the conversation of the continuity on the offensive line. And you've talked extensively about the problems that presents with the musical chairs going on up front. So if you can't establish the running game, then you're forcing Dak Prescott to play outside of himself, because he's not a quarterback that can throw the ball 35-plus times a game and have a good body of work. So I'm not really sure how this offense gets back on track, because you're looking at a Dak who over the last 4 games has 6 interceptions. And I can keep going on the stats as we go back, but I'm not a stat guy. It's the decision-making. It's the decision-making, and I think the inability of this offense to be able to get the ground game going consistently that is putting them against the wall and putting them in a bad position, but it has to get figured out within 6 or 7 days.
So is that basically what it takes, is you have to have a ground game in order to allow Dak Prescott to have any kind of success?
The history shows it. The analytics showed it. When he's 30, when we run the ball 40 times, 35 to 40 times, and he throws less than 30 times, the numbers are phenomenal. I don't want to pigeonhole him, because in the playoffs, you have to make plays as quarterbacks to get your team over the hump. But this is what you have to go in and bend, and you got to cater a little bit more to your defense. You got to sustain some drives. We didn't do that today going into this Washington Commander game.
I'm not even going to go to the stat line. I'm just going to say playoffs, decision-making just has to be of the utmost importance.
Oh, I'll go to the stat line. Don't you worry. I'll make sure and hit it. 14 of 37, 128, a touchdown, and an interception. You can't win playoff games with that type of stat line. I don't care who is that quarterback, who is that running back. You've got to play better as a whole offensively. But the defense didn't necessarily do any favors as well. When we come back, we'll hear from Micah Parsons here from the Star in Frisco when we return with more Cowboys OT. Cowboys tallied 3 sacks of Sam Howell in the loss against the Washington Commanders. Micah Parsons didn't have one of those sacks. He looked a little banged up at the end. Here's his words following the loss to Washington.
Micah, how surprised were you by what you saw out there?
I was pretty surprised. It's tough. Yeah, definitely surprised. When you talk about finishing the season strong, I wouldn't consider that finishing strong.
What do you attribute that performance to? I mean, you guys have so much to play for, and to come out there would look like maybe your worst performance of the season.
I don't know. I honestly don't know where you can start. From the very beginning of the game to the end, it just wasn't good. And when we're talking about championship teams, you got to perform better. But, you know, I think everyone has a fall, and there's a rise in every movie. So hopefully this was our falls and we can rise up and next week get it together because we got to play better.
Like, you guys have preached resiliency all season long. How confident are you guys that you can just turn the page quickly and gear up for the playoffs and hopefully make a run?
I mean, our record shows every time we lost one, we go out and show people what we really are. So hopefully we could do that. But we definitely can't come out and perform like this today. So I'm very confident in this team, myself, that, you know, I'm going to be ready.
Because of this relatively slim chances to improve your playoff standing, was there any lack of motivation coming out there for you guys today? Do you feel like that was a factor at all?
I don't think, honestly, like, I feel like it's very simple for me. Like, I'm not playing for seedings. Like, I'm not playing for, you know, whatever, however the people may want to say we playing for. Like, if you put your cleats on and you put your helmet on, like, that's what you should be playing for. Like, the people across from you, the people you work with, the people you know what I'm saying? Like, the motivation to me is simple. Like, we saw last week, we should be grateful just to step on the field. And I feel like if everybody's not, you know, grateful for this opportunity that we have, like, I just want to play, like, regardless, banged up or not, like, I'm grateful to still be here and to be able to play. So that's all the motivation people should have. And if people don't got that same motivation, then, you know, we probably won't go far.
So there's Micah Parsons. Barry, when you look at this defense, where does it start? Secondary, pass rush, how do they get back to normal?
I think it's got to rely on that pass rush. I mean, with the injuries they have in the secondary, 2 of your top 3 corners have been gone. They're attacking that second corner right now. I think it's up to this pass rush, who's relatively healthy overall, to get back going and get in the right direction. It's definitely affecting the quarterback. I mean, that's what made them so formidable earlier this year. A lot of those guys, they were able to win their one-on-one battles. We understand Parsons is going to get a lot of the attention. He's going to get the chip blocks. He's going to get the double teams. But that should open up things for the other players out there. DeMarcus Lawrence, Odigi Zua out there, you know, Dorrance Armstrong. Those are the guys that are going to be getting these one-on-ones, and they're going to have to take advantage of those one-on-ones and affect the quarterback. Because if we can't affect the guy next week, Tom Brady, he knows, he's seen every defense there is in the book, and he will dice this secondary apart by taking what the defense gives you. So to me, it relies on this defensive line to step their game up and hopefully get after the quarterback.
You know, it's a run game and it's a pass game. And you got to take one of them away with great effectiveness. And teams you can adjust as the defense. Right about now, they don't know which coverage to be in, what front to play, because they haven't stopped the run. They passing when they need to. This kid today, he was 11 for 19, 59%, 169 yards, and he beat us. But that's because they had 157 yards rushing and 41 attempts. They control the tempo. They control the pace of the game. They wore down our defense with 33-plus minutes of our time possession. And, yeah, you know, you're going to stay banged up if you got to play like that. And coming in here next week, Tom Brady, you know, he ain't got to sit down with the coaches. He can design the game plan himself.
Oh, yeah, he's an extension of the coaching staff. He's going to make things way tougher on that Cowboys defense heading into next week. But when we come back, part of the whole thing is time of possession and getting that ground game going as well. We'll hear from Ezekiel Elliott when we come back with more Cowboys OT. Not a great day on the ground for the Dallas Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott with just 8 carries for 10 yards. Here's what he had to say following the loss to Washington.
Yeah, I mean, very difficult. Just a matter of 3 and outs. Just struggle getting stuff going, getting any momentum. Yeah. We're just struggling with movement. Just line movement. Something we've kind of struggled with all year, but it's been worse. The past couple of weeks. But beauty of it, we got another life now. Now they all matter that much more, and got to get this thing right, get this thing rolling for the playoffs.
Because of how slim the chances were for you guys to improve your playoff position coming into today, was there a lack of motivation out there?
No, there was no lack of motivation. No lack of motivation at all. We all felt like we needed to come out there and get some good momentum, get a win. One, putting ourselves in a position to possibly, or for whatever would happen, and then 2, just to get momentum rolling into this next part of the season.
So if you guys weren't lacking motivation, how do you explain a performance that listless?
I don't know if there's an explanation. I just think we didn't go out there and execute.
How confident are you, Zeke, that this group can just regather themselves and make a deep playoff run?
Yeah, I'm super confident in the group of men we got. We have a team full of leaders. We all got this feel in our stomach, and we're gonna get this thing right.
So there's what Zeke had to say following the disappointing loss to the Washington Commanders. 26-6 the final score. And when we come back, we'll put this one in the rearview mirror for Cowboys OT and take a look ahead. It's playoff time in Dallas.
The Cowboys OT was brought to you by Sleep Number. Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full and condensed game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl.
Well, thank goodness this one is over and done. The Dallas Cowboys wrap up the regular season in not so great style. 26-6, the final score against the Washington Commanders. But it's time to shift the focus into playoff time. The Cowboys are the 5 seed out of the NFC. They will face Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the wild card round. Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback. I'm Kyle Yeomans. As we wrap up Cowboys OT, what's the biggest thing that needs to see a turnaround this week if they're going to have any sort of success against the Bucs?
Well, offensively, they've got to fix this turnover problem. You know, whether it's interceptions, it's botched punts, whatever the case may be, decision-making, ball placement, whatever it must be, they have to fix it. Because I'm telling you, once you get into the playoffs, if you go out there and you turn the football over, a guy by the name of Tom Brady, he's going to make your defense and your team overall pay for each and every takeaway you throw out there or you fumble away. So you've got to take care of the football. The football is of the utmost importance when you get into playoff action. All of these players should understand that, and hopefully they can nip it in the bud.
Offensively, you got the offensive line. You have to know who you're playing and what to do with these players. You cannot have this Swiss Army knife offensive line. These guys got to be able to protect Dak, protect the run, and control tempo.
Ditto to what these two just said, but in accordance with that, you have to find a way to sustain drives and get Tom Brady off the field, because he is a master of the continuous 4-minute offense. If you don't find a way to take the ball away from him, he will literally get Leonard Fournette going against your rush defense, and then he will simply pick apart your defense play after play after play. Find a way to get him off the field.
Got to find a way to get him off the field, but is it a compounding thing? You get some guys back. You got to win the battle in the trenches. You got to win time of possession, because it's got to start somewhere, right?
It's got to start somewhere, and I think it starts in the trenches with your defensive line, especially going against a guy like Tom Brady. He's always going to take what the defense gives you, and you can't have a guy like that who's seen every defense there is in the book to go out there and be comfortable. You got to rattle him, and we all know how to rattle that guy is to have pressure up the middle. So to me, Neville Gallimore or Digizua, if you're bringing A-gap pressure, whatever the case may be, you have to be in this man's face or he'll make you pay.
Hey, you know what? Offensive defensive lines control tempo of the game.
Of course, and we don't know when exactly this game will take place. We have a suspicion it'll be on Monday Night Football, and we do know it will be on the road against Tampa Bay. And if the Cowboys are going to have to get an early start to the NFC playoff picture, they're going to have to go through the GOAT to do so, and Tom Brady, who beat you back in Week 1. We'll be here to break it down, win or lose for the Cowboys next week. For Barry, Nate, Isaiah, and our entire crew, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. That does it for us on Cowboys OT. We'll see you next week.